Hi friends, host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. I've got a miniature document optimized for concision, and it's about extroverted feeling, two kinds of extroverted feeling, and my desire to optimize in that particular area as somebody who makes videos. So, foremost, here when I talk about autotomic FE, I'm talking about things that are involuntary, like they call breathing an autotomic function, or it's semi-voluntary, which is say you can control consciously, but if you don't, it does it on its own. Uh, Autotomic FE comprises a lot of people's interaction with a lot of other people in the world. I know this because I talk to a lot of people in a community that allows me to see people engage in back and forth argumentation, pissing matches, as they say, uh, and other such social hierarchical interactive modalities. I'm not naturally endowed from a cognitive function perspective with particularly strong extroverted feeling, which is to say, I don't necessarily prioritize it in my interactions, nor do I necessarily understand well always how significant an impact it can make, nor do I always understand exactly how to craft my extroverted feeling to achieve the sort of impacts I'd like to achieve. What impacts would I like to achieve with my extroverted feeling? Well, they're the same impacts I'd like to achieve with my with media production in general, which is to say, on a personal subjective level, I'd like to be liked. I'd like to be respected and thought to be competent and effective at what it is that I do. On more of a professional level, I would like to parlay this YouTube channel into some other movement forward in a career or money sort of way, if possible. I mean, the thing is, I I've made a lot of videos now. I've made something like 3,500 videos, and I don't think I've spent very much time in very many of those videos really focusing on trying to be appealing to the audience in ways that work to the advantage of being perceived in ways that I think I'd like to be perceived or that would facilitate success in other ways. So when I'm analyzing this FE a lot right now, is has a lot to do with Nick's presence here and his continual barrage of analysis that he subjects everything to, which I do as well. Hey, it's fine. Hey, listen, I do it to Kimberly too, and sometimes she goes, "Okay, just can you stop analyzing me now?" And I say, "Yes, dear." Anyway, so this document here is a way of noticing things that we all do autotomically, more or less, like projection. There's some really basic kinds of projection, like placing your flaws at the feet of another. People who say this sort of sentence, look, I know that you're really upset right now, and your feelings cloud your judgment and make you say things that just aren't rational, but I'm going to need you to just sort of calm down and listen to reason. That's not a rational person. They're trying to dismiss all of your arguments because they're upset right now and their feelings are clouding their judgment and making them say irrational things like this sentence I just read, right? That's a perfect example of projection. Next, we look at, and the thing is, we've all done that shit. I've done it, and it's not a crime. It's just a, it's just a bit of a, it's like, it's like something we do because I don't even know why. It's just we're all a little bit scared of.
The worst thing you can ever. There's a reason the worst punishment in prison. The reason the worst punishment in prison is solitary confinement is because it's what humans. It's the opposite of what humans desperately need. which is interaction and be connected. And I think proper FE manifestation in the way that you would like to feel it is an honest one.
I would hope so. And I'm
Because
gonna.
it can be consistent. And I don't want to derail you from your.
No, in fact, it's on the list down here. I'll get to it in a little bit. In all honesty, then. So, okay, this one here. Assuming frameworks are consistent with one's concerns, Joe walks up to his girlfriend Judy as she talks with gal pal Linda. It was a bit less than 3 inches. Judy, gasped Joe hurt-facedly. I'm talking about the tarantula my niece got, says Judy face-palmedly. You can see the risks of assuming frameworks are consistent with one's concerns. So this can be often very revelatory in lots of things in life when people are uh, make a mistake and think that people are talking about one thing, but they're really talking about something else. The thing that the person made the mistake to think they're talking about is often very revelatory of what their concerns are.
Mm.
Next, we have active FE. These things are things I would like to try to be more attentive to. There's a lot of other examples. This document was longer. I started to add a bunch of other shit to it. I just realized, be concise. Just put a note at the bottom. The reason it's this way is because I'm trying to attain concision, which is another FE concern. Anyway, tonal arc. If I were coaching original oratory as a speech event, and it's a speech where it's supposed to be informative and also researched, and also the key to doing that well is to have them hit a lot of different emotional spots within the spectrum over the course of the speech. I'm not doing that here. I'm doing a different kind of tonal arc thing, which is I'm hoping to come across as consistently focused, reasonable, good at this, and saying things that are engaging and hopefully informative, and somewhat original in their ideation, at least a little bit. So that brings us to the next thing, which is part of the tonal arc, is I need to engage with you as the viewer in a way that makes you go, I like this guy, I want to continue to listen to him. He's not boring me, I'm not changing the channel yet. So in order to do that, I've listed 5 things here that I think are core elements to engagement. The reason I'm structuring things like this is because I've been listening to Nick, who listens to a lot of this kind of stuff.
I mean,
right?
I'm flattered right
So, and I've been
now.
thinking a lot about what he's been saying in general and stuff. So that's why FE's on my mind here. But I think that the 5 elements that, for me, I'm required to convey in order to be successful on FE level with connecting with the viewer is honesty, seriousness, humor, humility, and vulnerability. So I have to be perceived as being not deceptive. The thing I'm presenting to you is honest and real, and but it may vary in tone, but you believe fundamentally that I'm not trying to fool you or trying to lead you astray or deceive you or misrepresent things. The second one is seriousness, which means basically to be aware that you have a purpose and a weight about you, because the words you're trying to say, the discourse you're trying to get across, and the message you have is something that you actually value and would like to see other people take seriously. So in order for them to take it seriously, you need to take yourself seriously. You need to sort of present these things in a serious fashion that is accessible to people, but is also respectful of the mores that the viewer has come to associate with people worth their attention. It's like to fail on these levels for me is, in a sense, gumming up people's heuristics. People have heuristics that say, that are rules of thumb that say, here's some visual cues, or here's some other kind of cues that this video is giving me, and I'm going to draw conclusions A through Z about it because of these few cues here. And by not being attentive to those kind of basic FEQs, I fail to engage a lot of people who might find videos that I make rewarding and worthwhile. So I think it's important for me to present myself as somebody with serious things to say that I hope will be heard, and believe the hearing of which will people find utility in that. Third is humor. I'm not getting much humor from me right now. I can be funny. I often am pretty funny.
Yeah.
And when I am, I think that works in my favor. Um, I don't know. I'm just feeling serious or something. This video, I have not really done a video like this ever
And
before.
he's obviously also open to critique because this happened based on my
Yeah, I hear
hapless
everything you
input.
say. See, what Nick wants from me is like
I don't know what I want. This is
he wants some sort of like
touching. This is touching.
full surrender on his point or something. And I always hear it out and I engage
I
with
don't
it,
know
but
that you do that though until
I,
something like this.
I mean,
I don't know that you're doing it.
I'm neither surrendering nor disagreeing. I'm usually just hearing you out and talking.
I
We're
don't
talking to
know
you
that you're
about it.
doing that. It's fucking weird.
The
I'm
fourth one,
sorry.
humility. This is one I've run afoul of plenty of times in the
We
past.
all have.
Uh, and it's what a failure of humility is basically a projection of insecurity. Almost always. I mean, some people might accuse me of being arrogant in moments when I'm simply being brusque because of some sort of time constraint. But almost always, I'm enough aware of the FE that it's it's invariably some sort of projection of insecurity or failure to recognize that that the ideation and the self and process is where it has to be as part of that process. For myself, I get frustrated sometimes with lack of follow through on my own part. I get frustrated with an inability to persist. And that's why the last two things I have here are consistency and persistence. I need to be consistent in terms of displaying the seriousness and the, the other stuff there that I actually have about this stuff without killing my personality and becoming some sort of dead fish. And the one thing that I've always had for some reason about I haven't had follow through, but I have had persistence. I keep making videos, and
Yeah.
hopefully that'll work. And the last thing, note concision. That means I should end it right now. Nick, you have any final thoughts?
No.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for Facebook. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese. And if you think I did a good FE job, you can FE thank me with a thumbs
No,
up.
no, no, no. Any type of good job.
All right. Well.
This is new for him to give thoughtful thoughts
Oh yeah. Give me your critiques. I'm open to critiques. I'm trying
and
to improve
and
my FE.
and props.
Nick. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.